Some look to playoffs, others look to April. Your current 2026 NFL draft order, interestingly enough, the top 3 teams selecting, same as a year ago. Tennessee, your 1-1 last year. It was Cleveland at number 2 this year, situated at 3 currently. The New York Giants swapping spots. It goes Titans, Giants, Browns, Saints, and Jets, currently rounding out your top 5. Back in studio to play a little bit of the hypothetical alongside Bryant, McFadden, and Emory Hunt. These are the bottom feeders right now, and we don't see a whole lot changing in terms of maybe those top 5 teams. Where they might situate could change as we see a logjam at 2 wins. But I want to talk about the 1-win team there in the Tennessee Titans. You select first overall, and it's been done before to select first overall in consecutive years. It certainly looks like that's the direction it's headed. Is this in some way a silver lining, a good thing for a team truly trying to build back around their franchise quarterback?
It is. I mean, they're deserving of being in this position right now as we see it with having the first overall pick. But if you're Tennessee, you don't need to address the quarterback position anymore. You have Cam Ward, and even though you haven't won anything in terms of outside of one game, Cam Ward has shown flashes like he could really be a dude at the quarterback position. But to your point, Joe, you have to build around him. So if I'm the Tennessee Titans, Emory, I'm entertaining, not just entertaining, I'm letting it be known. I want to move out of this number 1 spot. I want to get more resources. I want to see what's available. But being at 1, in my opinion, doesn't improve the Tennessee Titans as drastically as they could if they move out of number 1 and get more draft capital.
And that statement is taking so much into account. That's being the names they're going to find themselves at the top of this class. Yeah. The need there for the Tennessee Titans. It's in a way the inverse of what we saw from Chicago about 3 or 4 years ago, where they traded out of that first overall pick, still wanting to see one more from Justin Fields. Then they end up with the first overall pick in that following year because they had Carolinas. This is the other way around for Tennessee, but quarterback need, as Mac pointed out, not there right now. What is the supply and demand when you look at who might be on the phone to come up to number 1 with this year's quarterback class?
Great question, because when you think about who are the blue chip prospects, right, and what Tennessee needs, they have a blue chip quarterback, they have a blue chip defensive lineman, Jeffrey Simmons. So now you wonder, okay, if we want to move out, who will be entertaining the number 1 pick? Well, you look at, perhaps, in my opinion, it depends on how Tyler Shuck plays out the rest of the way. They drafted him last year. The Saints may say, okay, we want to give him a full year. Then you look at the Jets. Aaron Glenn wants to draft his own quarterback, perhaps, and that could be a potential spot. But if you're Tennessee, why would I trade with an AFC team and make them better? The Rams are sneaky because Matthew Stafford is long in the tooth. They have 2 first-round picks, and the Rams could want to go up and get whatever they want to get. And you have now 2 picks in the first round to go make your team better if you're Tennessee. Another sneaky team that can move up and go and get that guy, the Cardinals. The Cardinals are another team that, hey, Jonathan Gannon never drafted his quarterback. That's another situation. Yeah. And so they could probably go make a move to go up to number 1 and get whoever they've deemed as their guy. I don't think the Browns or Saints are in the quarterback market. The Jets could be tricky. They may want to vet there based on, their guy.
Now, the demand is the interesting thing there, because we know you're not taking a quarterback first overall for Tennessee. So why move to number 1 if I'm moving up for a quarterback? You then look at number 2 with the New York Football Giants and say, you're not picking a quarterback either at number 2. Why not move up to number 3 with Cleveland, who could play that game of cat and mouse and say, hey, we took one in the 3rd, we took one in the 5th, and we'll take one again, but we also have our ear to the phone right now. It's just a super interesting situation.
Because Cleveland has the strongest bluff. Because until we see the rest of the way with Shedeur Sanders, I think he's their franchise guy. And they also need receiver help. But do you take a receiver not named Jeremiah Smith, number 2 overall? You don't. And so, but they could bluff with the quarterback. They could also get King's ransom. We've seen them do that before. Yeah. And so now when you think about the Giants are also in play because they have an elite receiver. They got their quarterback. They got elite players on defense already. They're definitely probably going to move out that pick.
It's just a different value of that first overall pick when you assess it all, and second in this year's NFL draft. It's definitely different than the paces we felt before, Mac. It's going to sort itself out, but we have 5 2-win teams right now log jamming there at the back end of the top 5. Where do you see quarterback need?
The Jets, for sure. The Jets, and I understand what Emory is saying with Cleveland, but I think there could be a quarterback need for Cleveland. But then also, we don't know what Cleveland could do with Deshaun Watson, who will be ready to go in 2026, right? So that he could be.
And is that an offensive line room or is that a quarterback room? Like, how many guys
that's
are you
the
going to
thing.
give a helmet?
So to answer your question, it's the Jets for me, for sure. I think Arizona would be in play for a quarterback, for sure.
Okay, let's look at it this way, Mac, because now we're looking at Ryan Wilson's top 3 quarterback prospects in this year's class. How do these names, their performances, and their projections affect what might happen in this top 5 or 10?
I mean, these are the top 3 guys, honestly. And this is a watered-down quarterback class. That's why you see those 3 guys. When I look at all 3 players, I think they have high ceilings. But in any other draft, they wouldn't be top of the pecking order at that said position when you look at the quarterbacks. But because of the demand, these players will be overdrafted because of the need. This draft class reminds me a lot of the 2022 draft class, where guys were overdrafted because of the need. That's the draft that had Kenny Pickett in it, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis. You look at Kenny Pickett being the only one went in the first round because of the need. Now, we will see multiple guys from this quarterback draft be drafted in the first round. But if you were to compare those 3 guys to the previous quarterback drafts.
I mean, think of the guys that have gone the last 3 seasons.
Even last year, none of those guys are better than Cam Ward, right? And I have concerns about quarterbacks that are drafted extremely high with a small sample size. I know Mendoza has some pretty good flashes at Cal, but this was his big-time year. Ty Simpson, 1-year wonder. Dante Moore, 1-year wonder.
Yeah.
When you look at years past, guys who had that 1-year flash that got drafted extremely high and forced into action immediately, it didn't play out well. Mitchell Trubisky, right? Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Those are guys that were small sample size on the collegiate side and got drafted extremely high. And hey, they received the keys and they didn't keep the car.
The thing that I do love about those 3 names, likely going to be some very high leverage football played over the next 2 months. Big games that we're going to learn a lot about the mettle and the ability of those quarterbacks. Emory Hunt, I know you put in the work, and I don't want to catch you before the work is done on these guys, but watered down was the way he put this class. How do you assess this class in a couple words?
That's a great way because I do a lot of, pull behind the curtain, I do a lot of the pre-work in the offseason and grading these quarterbacks already coming into the year before we even saw this sample size of season play. They didn't rank high because more we saw UCLA tape. And Simpson hadn't played yet. Mendoza wasn't as high on him at Cal, what he put out there as a full season. Thought he was very streaky, which we kind of see a little bit right now in this offense. So when you look at other guys, you know, the Taylor Greens, the Haynes King, those are guys that can go on day 2 or 3 that can play you winning football. But that's the thing that's a philosophical change of, hey, don't force the first round pick if you don't have to. We saw them do a great job of restraint in 2022. So when you say watered down first quarterback class, my thing is just because you need a quarterback, don't force the pick in the first round.
Overdraft the guy.
Overdraft the guy. You can get a guy in rounds 2 or 3 that can start for you. We've seen that before. Andy Dalton, Jalen Hurts, Drew Brees. We can go on and on. Russell Wilson, 3rd round pick. If you can just build the roster around a quarterback and make it quarterback proof, whoever you put there is going to be in a position to have success. So I said all that to say that we have there's quarterbacks in this class that can play winning football that you don't have to reach for this early.
Situation often dictates success, but when we talk about supply and demand, it's a different type of supply, and the demand stop and start there in the top 5. Here's a look at your odds to be the top overall pick. Our friends at FanDuel positioning Ty Simpson, the Alabama quarterback, as the favorite to go first overall, and now not likely going to be Tennessee, but who might move up to number 1? Do you need to move up to number 1? Well, first quarterback off the board, FanDuel certainly positioning Simpson there.